Superman Unlimited issue 3, Dan Slott writing with RAFAEL ALBUQUERQUE on the art. So this is a more Krypto focused issue, interestingly enough. So we don't really continue. I mean, there's references to what's going on, the whole kryptonite being everywhere. That does come up, but it's a bit more self-contained, this issue, which is interesting. It's also funny how all of a sudden when the Superman movie was coming out and Krypto's a part of that all of a sudden there's not only a Krypto miniseries, but we're getting a Krypto issue of one of the Superman books.
Reading this right after seeing the movie was a real big 1-2 punch of Krypto. Yeah,
for sure. So this is a story called Good Boy, and there's a little bit of a flashback early on where it's like basically showing how like Clark had some trouble like realizing his own strength. He ripped off the door of the truck by accident, and he's having to like learn how to control his powers. And the point of him bringing that up is that, well, if it's hard for me, how hard could it be for a dog? And sure enough, we see Krypto like heat vision firing off and almost hitting the squirrel. We see Krypto like, wrecking the fridge because he's like getting in there for the food. So, he's got so much strength, but he's a dog. So it's like, how do we deal with that? So we see a little bit of that, but then we also see in present day that Krypto by himself takes care of some bank robbers, and the bank robbers are very embarrassed and like, oh, let's tell people it was Superman who stopped us, saved the embarrassment. And there's also a little bit with John where basically Clark and Lois are like, hey, so you do need to get a job at some point, John. You are technically an adult now. Like you can't just be a superhero 24/7. So maybe that's something that he's going to get to in the run. But they do some fun stuff here where Krypto's like going for a walk around the planet and like he's speeding around the entire world, and John's like holding on to the leash. They go past Gorilla City, which I assume is setting up a new recurring character for the Daily Planet, because we get a gorilla, like a teenage girl gorilla.
Tina.
Yeah, she's called Tina, but I think she's a teenager or maybe college-age girl who is going to be an intern at the Daily Planet. So I suspect we're going to see more of that character, and that's why we had that page setting her up. But John stays with the Kents because he ends up on the farm and they want to talk to him about something. Maybe they're going to give him a job on the farm or something. Maybe that's what we're setting up here.
Yeah.
Who knows? But Krypto is left to go back to Metropolis on his own and basically sniffs out that there's some Toyman shenanigans going on because something like gets his scent going. And ends up at this like science exhibit where there's like there's LexCorp, there's Cord Industries, all the rest of it, and basically Clark's interviewing someone from one of these companies, and basically saying, hey, don't you work for Winslow Schott, the Toyman, and like is your stuff going to be using kryptonite, all the rest of it. And sure enough, this robot built by Toyman that's powered by kryptonite like rises up, and Krypto shows up to help fight it, and Superman's fighting it as well. The big thing here though is that when Krypto like they sort of like, make a hole in its chest and they see the kryptonite, like I'm sure it's happened before, but like I don't know if I remember a scene where Krypto gets near kryptonite and gets hurt and is like like dying in Superman's arms, and it looks really sad.
Have you never read Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow?
Oh, I think I have. But it's been like 20 years.
Because that's how Krypto in that story dies, is that the Kryptonite Man comes to attack Clark, and he bites, and essentially Krypto kills the Kryptonite Man trying to save Superman, and he ends up, dying by himself because he's so irradiated with the kryptonite, Superman can't get close. Okay. And it's super sad, and I did not cry for 10 minutes. Reading it. I mean,
it's not. I mean, that's quite an old story at this point, so it's been a while. Yeah.
So, but yeah, they tend to not have Krypto go near kryptonite because they know the audience loves the pet. So yeah, here I was like, oh no, they just didn't bring Krypto to the big screen to take him out here, did they?
Yeah.
Hoo-wee.
Yeah, the big reveal here is that after Superman like goes into gold form to try and protect Krypto, so it's not actually like any of the human Toymen that are behind this. It's actually like one of the animatronic toys has kind of become sentient, and says, yeah, they built this robot, but it's not to hurt anyone. It wasn't actually going to like attack anyone. And he goes up and uses this like ray gun that covers it in inertin, which like, you know, blocks the kryptonite effect to sort of stop hurting anyone. And it's like, oh, so that's, you know, so Krypto's kind of jumped the gun here a little bit because it, you know, smelled, you know, Toyman stuff and jumped in. Yeah, so Superman takes Krypto to the fortress, buys him a present. It's got some plushies of Superman villains. They got Brainiac, Bizarro, and is that
that's
Mexipitalik? Yeah, I was just looking at it funny. So Krypto's playing with these stuffed toys, and that's kind of the end of the issue. Yeah, I mean, this was an okay issue. I mean, it was definitely like a fun standalone story, which, you know, like it references what's going on in the ongoing story of this book with the kryptonite being used, and maybe it's important that we've got like a non-human Toyman character that's kind of like running Toyman technology right now. Maybe that's something that's going to be important later, but it does kind of feel like a sort of like fill in, or we're just going to have fun for an issue with doing Krypto stuff.
Yeah.
But having said that, maybe even the John stuff about him getting a job or what he's talking to the Kents about is maybe going to be important as well. So maybe like the main story is just kind of a fun side story, but there's little snippets like kind of sprinkled throughout that are going to be important later, maybe, which is fine. Like, I'm not even complaining. It's just kind of weird to do this with issue 3 of a new book. You know, feels a bit early
because it's been so focused on the whole Superman and that new island that is, you know, has all the kryptonite.
Yeah, the city.
And what's up with them. Yeah, to get away from that so soon. Although that said, I did like here with the Toyman, and it's not what it seems, right? That he's not like Winslow. You know, he's gonna try to do good, and there is that mystery though of how he came up with the inerton, because it's not Superman even tells him, you know, that's a metal that's not native to this time period. How? And all Toyman says is that he found bits of green kryptonite the Calderans gave him. It was the key to making my generators work without hurting anybody.
Yeah.
So he's like, oh, I figured out how to do something like Inerton. So I'm wondering if that's going to be a key going forward, that, you know, Superman has some stuff made from Toyman to shield him and the other Kryptonians.
Yeah. Also, either him or maybe the woman that Clark was talking to as a reporter before, talked about how these kryptonite generators can like power a city, and like this is like an improvement for the world. And so there's a whole little bit where Clark's kind of like talking to Krypto and saying, well, if it's for the good for the world, you know, maybe we just have to accept that this is something that's going to exist, you know, underground, under like, you know, like lots of cities going forward or something. So it is interesting. The art, obviously, Albuquerque is very good. I still do think at times I find myself, you know, looking at like Superman's face and going, yeah, maybe he's not the most Superman suited artist. Like, you know, he's a great artist, no question. But when I think of Albuquerque, I'm thinking of like horror books and like, you know, creepy stuff. So it's an interesting pairing for
I will say his Krypto looks weird at times. And, you know, I have a dog that looks kind of like this with the kind of mustachy whatever, and just sometimes it looks odd, and it's just Albuquerque style. That said, on the page where Krypto's attacking the big robot with the robot like tentacle, there's a small panel at the top of Superman opening his shirt and taking his glasses off that I think looks really good. And it might just be because it's smaller, right? And there's not as much detail, so you don't get a lot of that Albuquerque weird face thing going on. But I will say that fits the Albuquerque style for Superman.
Yeah,
it's right here.
Yeah, and for the record, like, I don't think his faces are bad. Like, I just think they're kind of like they're not quite the tone for Superman that I'd expect. You know?
Yeah, the doll man, toy man guy, like whatever he is, looks like a kid. That looks pretty good, right? Like the exaggerated kind of features versus just the regular human type stuff. Even though Superman's not human, you know what I mean? But yeah, just it's not bad by any means. It's just it feels off.
Yeah. I like the touch as well that when the toy is saying, hey, like, you know, I'm literally a toy man, you know, I'm just I'm a creation, you know, I'm a Pinocchio. There's the panel there, like you can see that Clark's using his X-ray vision and seeing that there's nothing inside of him. You know, there's no skeleton or anything like that. So that's a nice touch. So Yeah. So it's just a sort of thing where I don't know if the artist matches the character particularly amazingly, but the art is very good, and Albuquerque is usually very good. So, anywho, yeah. So pretty kind of mostly standalone, kind of fun side story issue, which does affect I think my feeling on it a little bit, even though I think it was pretty decent. So, what are you rating this issue, Matt?
It's a straight 7.
Yeah, I think that's about fair. I think it's pleasant enough. Yeah, I'll agree with the 7.